deep inside, it is what people are looking for. And that feeling is peace. That feeling is a sense of connection to themselves.
After my workouts, I also do the ice bath thing. And if I don't get my ice bath, it makes me kind of grumpy. And it's the best feeling I can get. Like,
I think when people get older, they have this idea that they need to start to act different. I'm older now. I'm in my 40s. I'm in my 50s. I need to be a certain way. I can't be like how I was. Says who?
hey, Mike, nice to be able to talk to you. Thanks for coming out here.
All right. I'm glad to be here, Sven.
Thank you. So you had this big company, Six Pack Shortcuts. What do you do? What do you actually do nowadays?
Nowadays, well, it's a good question because I haven't really announced this publicly. So this will be the first time. I just had a baby about a month ago. So
congratulations!
Yeah, thank you. And
awesome.
I didn't say anything before this. I came on. I said I've been busy and my schedule has been chaotic. That's a big reason why.
Okay.
So
do you get any sleep?
I do, but it is periodic. My schedule is really just very off. I usually have morning rituals. I wake up at a certain time. I've got a whole system and routines, and all of that is pretty much out the door right now.
Mm-hmm.
So sleep is I get it in, but it's random.
Well, yeah, I really appreciate then even more that you come out for this podcast here.
Oh, my pleasure.
Okay, thank you. So what do you do nowadays? So you got a baby, and are you retired, or are you still active business wise? What do you do?
I took some time off after Six Pack.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm helping people with, with the things that I learned. It's just basically about, how to be happy. When I was in Six Pack, I was helping people how to get a nice body and get what they want. And I was really passionate about that because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to have a great body and, go after what I wanted. So the YouTube channel, the programs were mostly about that. And then I took a step back and I realized that, there's actually higher levels of happiness. Or we can say there's peace. We can actually experience peace, the sense of inner freedom that it doesn't come when we get what we want. It doesn't come if we make money or if we buy something or if we gain success or even if we are very confident, because there's deeper layers of us that we have to connect to and to understand and to ultimately to release in order to get to that state. And that state, I've never experienced it. And when I did experience it, I was really shocked, but really excited. It's like this secret discovery that I've never known, and I don't know who knows, but I know I'm experiencing it. And then I spent many years after that understanding what actually happened. And
what happened?
The short story is I was able to change the energy in my body by releasing all of the emotions that were trapped inside, and I was able to discover the beliefs inside of my mind that I created when I was just growing up, and I was actually able to change them. Versus even if somebody was to discover that this is what's happening, this is what I believe in about myself and the world, it doesn't give them the ability to just go, I decide I'm going to do something different. I decide I'm going to see it different. People don't have that ability to just do that. And I was able to do that. And when that happened and I changed the belief and I changed the energy in my body by releasing all of the emotion, my state of consciousness changed. you can say I became a different person.
Did you do ayahuasca?
This was before that.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it became, what can I do to repeat this? What can I do to maintain this? And what the heck happened? I had no idea. You know, it's like I stumbled upon it. And then when I stumbled upon it, I wanted to maintain it. And so I started to experiment with plant medicines like ayahuasca, psychedelics with mushrooms and, acid and, I forgot the other ones, the hope things you snort up your nose like a brown powder, it's supposed to clean out your pineal gland, decalcify it. I started doing
painful. I did
very
that too.
painful. Yeah.
Like
did you do the one
into the nose? Oh, it was like one of the extremest pains I've ever experienced.
It burns. Did you do the eye drop one too?
Yeah. It's so painful. You're supposed to lay like on your back, and then you get it into your eyes, and then like it. And it
usually comes with a 3. It's my friend calls it a triple threat. So I'm guessing you probably did maybe the third one as well, or which is the frog poisoning.
Yeah.
Or the frog medicine. Yep. Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay.
I think there's 2 types. There's a toad, which I didn't do. It's like the extreme psychedelic one, and the other one is a detox one. I think it's the name is Kambo, and the psychedelic one is Bufo, and the Kambo one, you get like, they kind of burn it into your skin.
Yeah.
They like with a hot stick, they like poke 4 burning holes into your skin, and then they apply the poison, and then you're like heating up, and you're supposed to drink 2 liters of water, and then you wait a little bit, and then you heat up like really extremely, and then from all your body openings, like you detoxify, and it's extreme, but afterwards you feel great.
Yes, and the heating up happens really fast. I think for me it was maybe under 60 seconds. I went from feeling normal to feeling like I had a full-blown fever.
Yeah. And it's so extreme. And how do you help people come closer to that kind of happiness? How does it work?
So combo, ayahuasca, and all these, they're all different methods of essentially doing the same thing. Everybody's trying to do the same thing, but there's just so many different methods, so many different routes, and so many different tools. And essentially what we're really doing is we want to get into this neutral state inside. Every person is looking for it, whether or not they realize it or not. And the thing is, they don't, because they never experience it for most. So how do you know you're looking for something when you never experienced it? Nobody around you has ever experienced it. And then the only people that talk about it, you're not interested in those people.
Yeah.
You're not interested in what they're talking about, because that's not what you're interested in. You're interested in something else. So, but deep inside, it is what people are looking for. And that feeling is peace. That feeling is a sense of connection to themselves. Everybody wants this. And so combo and all these medicines is trying to get rid of what is blocking a person from connecting to themselves, or blocking a person from getting into this state.
Yes. And is it like, do you teach applying that or implementing that in your life?
Well, so what I first thought of is, well, let's just get everybody on some plant medicines. Let's take everybody to Peru. Let's give everybody some frog poisoning. Let's go on, grab the buckets, and let's do ayahuasca. Everybody just starts going on these trips. And I entertained the idea. I started to look into it, and ultimately I found that it does help for a lot of people. It kind of gives them this the ability to experience this state faster and quickly. But people need a lot of integration, and without the integration, it could actually create a lot of confusion and a lot of negative effects. And then there's the people that go, this is just a little too out there. It's a little too, extreme. What's something that's a little more subtle? I want to get to what you're talking about, but I don't want to, feel like I'm going to die. And, I don't want to do all of that, but is there another way to get to it? And I started to look into this, and I realized actually there is. And this has been around for thousands of years, right? This idea of becoming more happy or getting to this neutral inner peace. It's not something that we in the modern world just decided we want this. I mean, every human that existed pretty much wanted the same thing. And we know damn sure that everybody was also going for it. And so I started to look and see what else can we do to accomplish the same goal, which is to release the trapped energies in the body to allow the frequency in the body to rise, which basically means like the energetic frequency, right? To get it to a higher vibration. And then what can we do for our mind to let go of the beliefs that get us to hate this person, feel bad about ourselves, think the world is a scary place. Let go of that belief. Not just identify it and become aware of it. That's part of the process. But how do we actually let it go? Because I know a lot of people, once they get to that stage where they realize what they are believing, they can't let it go. And now it just becomes something that they know they have a problem with, but there's not a solution for them to get rid of it. It's like it's like an alcoholic that realized they're an alcoholic, but now what? Go to AA meetings. Well, I can't stop. So I realized that to help somebody to be able to do that, to actually get rid of the belief or to be able to uproot it. And it's actually really simple. It was very complicated for a while because it was, I didn't understand all this stuff. Like I taught people how to exercise and get in shape and build some muscle. And now we're getting into something a lot more complex. And I spent the last 7 years looking into this, experimenting, learning, studying, and putting all of my energy towards it. And so that's why people think I retired, but not really. I've been spending a lot of time in the background learning about these things and living it, not just, learning about it and then regurgitating the information. No, I'm living this information now. And what I found is if we can release the emotion that is trapped inside of our body, the emotions are like the root of a tree. And the root of this tree, this emotion, is anchoring the beliefs in our mind. So in other words, when we want to change a certain belief, there is an emotion attached to it. And if we can release that emotion, this belief is now open to be reprogrammed. But if we don't release the emotion, if I realize that I have fear of this and I don't like that, but it doesn't matter if I realize it. I can't change it because there is an emotion that is anchoring that belief.
How can I release emotions that are trapped inside my body?
So imagine like a towel, right? Like a piece of meat. And let's look at a piece of meat, right? We look at our body like this carcass, this meat. Well, if we want to get inside this meat, we want to tenderize this meat. You can
beat it.
yeah. You can beat it. You can massage it. You can shake it around. You can cut little slices in it. You can do all these different things to ultimately get the meat to be more loose. So when we look at our bodies, we can stretch the body, we can shake the body, right? We can tap the body, we can exert the body, like build a lot of exertion inside, in all of these ways. And we can also just relax the body, get the body to become more relaxed. So these are just different methods to help get the body to physically start to release the emotion, physically start to release the energy, because the body is like it's like a piping system in a home. When we look at our veins and we look at our meridians, the pathways in which the energy travels into, they're like pipelines, and if we have a blocked pipeline in the home, things get backed up. And when we have a blocked pipeline in our body, things get backed up in our body. So this is where pains come in. This is where stagnation, loss in feeling in certain areas. Certain organs aren't getting the nutrients. There's problems. All of these things is because there's a lack of circulation. The body has the capacity to heal itself. Mm-hmm. And so therefore, when we get injured, how come certain things heal and certain things don't heal? How come a person has chronic injury in one place, but yet they can cut their finger and their finger will heal? So it's not that the whole body is broken. It's just that part of the body is still working and the other part has problems. So this is because the body is not circulating. It's the most basic function of the body: circulation of blood, circulation of energy, circulation of nutrients. The body's got to be able to move things around, circulation of energy. So when we do all these things to the body, like stretch it, vibrate it, scrape it, right? All of these techniques, so yoga is stretching, massage is doing all these different things. All it's doing is increasing the circulation, opening up the circulation of blood and energy, and removing the blockages. This is like the most basic function that allows the health of the body, but it also allows the energy to flow, because energy is emotion. So emotion is actually energy in motion. That's what emotion actually stands for. And so when I go, I'm experiencing an emotion, I'm basically saying I'm experiencing energy that is moving in my body. But energy is very different. And if somebody goes, I'm experiencing this emotion, and another person goes, I'm experiencing that emotion, that's because the energies are vibrating at a different frequency. So this person is experiencing frequency 1, and we call this anger. Another person goes experiencing frequency 2, we call this sadness. Another one, frequency 3, we call it courage. They're just different frequencies.
So what do you recommend then? Do you recommend then, like, okay, doing a lot of movements? What does your usual routine look like to maintain yourself and be happy and live?
So I started to test this out over many years, and because I had over 20 years of fitness background in bodybuilding and working out, so I understood body mechanics and muscles and a lot of different exercises. And I started to look and see which different methods can help open up the body. And ultimately, it came down to 4 different things. So what I do every single morning now, before the baby came, now it's like just kind of throughout, wherever I can get it in. So every day I have this practice. It's super simple. I designed it that way because it can be much more complicated. But I wanted to find something that every person can do, but somebody like me who's been training for a very long time can still be beneficial, or somebody who's never worked out or hasn't worked out in over a decade can start and still have it to be beneficial, but they can also do it. And we can do it together. And I can still feel the benefits. I wanted this aspect of it. So I call this training flow training method. And because it puts our consciousness in a state of flow. And there's 4 parts. So the first part, we increase circulation. We're doing tapping, we're doing breathing, we're doing different hops and shakes. And all we're doing is opening up the whole circulation of the body. And then part 2, we go into strength and cardio. And this will help move the energy even more, get the body to sweat, increase the temperature, start up the lymphatic system even more, right? Getting the toxins out. And then we go into part 3, stretching. Right? We release the tension more. We elongate the muscles. We make sure we have range of motion, right? If you work out, you got to be able to stretch. If not, you lose the range. And then part 4, we do breathing and meditation. And so the reason it's done in this specific sequence is because it takes somebody from a starting point to where their body is cold, right? Their body's not warmed up, and then it brings them all the way up to a peak and then all the way back down. So we're taking the body through a journey, and we're starting off with circulation because it is the basis that allows the energy to start flowing. And we can also call it kind of like a warm-up, except it's a little different than a traditional type of warm-up. You know, we're opening up everything. I mean, you're opening up your eyes, your nostrils, your tongue, your ears, along with all of the other parts of the body. Because why won't you want your face to be circulating? Right? Yeah. It's like you want to have some circulation in your eyes, in your brain, in your head. But how many people exercising are doing that? You know? So it's really funny because I'll be tapping on my head and people look at me strange, you know, because they're like, what is he doing? So we do that in part 1, and then we take it through specific exercises so we can systematically open the entire body from the circulation to eventually moving all of the energy. So in other words, a person can start off having anxiety when they first start the practice, and when they're done at the end, the anxiety has decreased. It's literally like that. They don't even need to know what it is that they're doing or why. They just do it, and it will happen that way. I've seen this over and over and over again. And if they do it long enough, they will be able to get rid of anxiety. But they will start to unlock things that will move them progressively. Because it's not just like you do this physical practice and then magically, there's no magically things happen. It's just, it comes in stages. But this first stage is to basically open up the entire body and start to silence the mind. And then we go into other further stages to eventually we get to the point where somebody is able to change the belief systems in their mind, and they're able to release all the fear-based emotions trapped in their body and come back into a neutral state of peace.
And how long does that take for you in your case? I estimate maybe 2 hours?
60 minutes.
60 minutes.
Yeah. 60 minutes.
For all these things.
Yeah.
Cool. And do you think it helps against any type of disease or illness?
Yeah, it does. Because we're doing the basics here. Now, if somebody's illness doesn't allow them to do some of the exercises, or many of them, it will still help. But would it solve it? I don't know. It will be on a case-to-case basis. We will see in the moves that there are over 44 moves in this practice. And so even if somebody is able to only do half of them, but the 22 moves is still helping with the circulation, helping the body to release the energy. So a person is sick, but just because a person is sick, the person is sick because their body couldn't heal what they had. And their body couldn't heal it because the most foundational thing wasn't happening, which is circulation. And then once there was a circulation block, then the next thing builds up after that. But if somebody's body is circulating, it doesn't matter what the person has. You have this bad bacteria, you have this disease, you have this thing. Okay, now your body goes into war and you fight it. So now your body temperature increases. You're burning up, you're sweating, you're throwing up, you're all this stuff. Great. That means your body is fighting. It's doing something. It's doing its job to get rid of it. You go through this week or 2 weeks of sickness, everything is great after that. You lose 10 pounds, okay. But if the body isn't able to fight because it loses its capacity to fight, because it lacks circulation, you can't get nutrients from one end to the other. No liquids is getting to that end. Blood can't get to that end. You can't bring any hormones into that end. Well, you just handicapped. You just stopped its ability to heal. And that's what happens. Circulation is like the most fundamental thing that people are struggling with. And then from there, all the other issues are created.
Uh-huh. Yeah, probably a lot of health issues and maybe also mental and emotional issues, because with a lack of circulation, then there is like too much in one place and not enough in other places, and then you feel like there's not enough in other places, not enough energy in some places. So I think that can lead to emotional struggle, disease, maybe even injuries sometimes when you do wrong movements or stuff like that. But how does that relate to happiness?
Well, it directly correlates to happiness, because if somebody's in pain, if they're not feeling good, it's tough to to be happy. It's tough to be at peace. Can you do it? Absolutely, you can do it. But what we're talking about is, imagine somebody sitting there and they've got pain. They've got pain on the inside. They got physical pain. They're aching. They got a headache. And they're doing their best not to be angry, to be frustrated. Right? It's very, very difficult. They're trying their best to handle all of this discomfort. And so the answer is yes, somebody can be in pain and can be very, very sick and be at peace. But we are talking about, why would somebody want to face challenges like that? It's hard enough for somebody to be at peace when they feel fine. Why would they want to be in all this pain? And so part of the formula to help somebody become more peaceful and become more happier is be healthier, feel better in your body, right? And it's not like build more muscle. No, feel better in your body. It's a very big difference. There's a lot of people, I know because I've been bodybuilding for a long time before, a lot of people who work out like crazy and, they're very strong, but they're in a lot of pain. They've got pains and injuries in their body, ones that have been around for a long time. One goes away, another one comes back. And this is people that exercise and train really hard. So therefore, people that don't, well, they're dealing with all kinds of different tightnesses and pains and discomforts and all this stuff. And if they don't get rid of this pain, they're having to go and be happy while dealing with all the discomfort. They don't realize that all of this is actually tied in together. Like the discomfort that they have is actually getting their mind to see in a very narrow perspective. Because see, I started to realize when we ask somebody, hey, when you're upset, the way that you see yourself and other people and the situation is very different than when you're not upset. Everybody would agree. Yeah, of course. Okay. So when you're upset, your body also feels very different than when you are in a good mood.
Yeah.
So what's actually happening in the body between being in a good mood and being upset? When I started to look into this, I realized that when somebody's in a good mood, their body is more relaxed. When somebody is in a bad mood and they're upset, their body tenses up.
Yes.
They will tense up in all kinds of different places. Jaw, eyebrows, the fists, right? Ball of fists, their stomach will tighten up in all kinds of places. And so when their body tightens up like that, the energy in their body changes. The frequency drops down.
Yeah.
When the frequency drops down, their mind, what is mind, right? Mind is not something you can poke at or look at. The mind is the manifestation of the energy. In other words, our mind starts to narrow down and our perspective changes because the energy in our body changed. So in other words, when we are angry, we tighten up, we tighten up throughout our body, we tense up, the energy vibration in our body goes down, our mind, the perspective narrows, and we become closed-minded. And now we are angry and we are upset at things. And so if we wanted to prevent that, we just need to do the actual opposite. When you're angry, relax. Breathe.
Mm-hmm.
This is why they go, oh, you're angry. Take a deep breath. Not one, take 10 deep breaths. You're still mad? Okay, keep breathing. All right, shake it off. Go for a walk, right? You know, we've all heard this, right? This is like common stuff. But what this advice is actually doing is it's getting somebody to try to relax their body and keep the energy frequency in their body high. So this way their mind can continue to be expanded. So this way they can go and see the situation in another perspective that might not be, they may not be as upset when they can see it in another person's point of view or see it another way.
I see. Yeah. That helps a lot. And I actually do the Wim Hof thing. So one of the moments where I feel happy the most is after I am able to get out of that cold water. Have you tried that?
Yes. It's wonderful.
Yeah, and I also think it brings a lot of flow into your energy and your body, and I think it's a very good practice. And I've even read that you release a lot of dopamine when you get out of the cold water for some reason. And it's as much as if you would take Coke, but Coke lasts for, I think it's 20-ish minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. But the ice cold water, if it's really cold, if you remain like, I don't know, 30 seconds, a minute or something like that, it remains for hours. So you have that high dopamine level for hours and hours. And that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. And there's something else that you can do also. Have you ever tried going into a very hot tub right after the cold?
No.
So if you have the opportunity, do this next time. Go into the hot tub first, and then your body warms up, and the hottest one you can find, right? And then go into the cold, and then go back into the hot, and go back and forth 7 times. Spending, anywhere from whatever's comfortable, 15, 30 seconds each, a minute, whatever you want. But what you're doing is the cold contracts everything.
Yeah.
Right? Everything kind of tightens up and it contracts everything. And then the hot expands everything. So your body is basically contracting, expanding, expanding. And that action opens everything up even more. And when you come out, you'll have that super high dopamine level and you'll be very relaxed and you can feel the energy just pulsing from your skin. Everything is so open. It's awesome. You got to try it out.
I will try. That sounds really, really good. How do you see the sport of bodybuilding, like from today's perspective?
I think it's evolving. Fitness has evolved so much over the last 7 years. And I feel like the exercises, when I'm watching people train, I remember that when people were training before, there was only very, very advanced trainers doing like targeting moves and these exercises that were not of the norm. But now when I see people work out, it's like all of these exercises are now kind of mainstream. Everybody knows these exercises. Yeah. And everybody knows how to target their body better. And so therefore, all of the bodies are improving much faster. It's like before, somebody only had a handful of exercises to go and improve their body. And now they've got a whole arsenal. But it's not just the advanced. It's like everybody knows these exercises. So now I'm looking around and I see bodybuilders, women, all the women's got badass looking glutes. The guys are having lats that are, everybody look like genetic freaks now. And it's because they have advanced so much in their knowledge for exercises, along with the machines as well. Before in my day, you use the standard machines, and then afterwards you have to modify the machines. You have to use the machines differently so you can work on a different angle. Now they created machines to target those specific angles as well. So what it does is it just builds the bodies even more. So that's what I've seen in bodybuilding. It's just advancing more, and it's kind of cool to watch. You know.
Do you still do bodybuilding?
No, I just exercise to stay fit. I'm definitely not bodybuilding right now. I just haven't had the will to really get back into it. Yeah, I do like to still train, but I don't train to put on a massive amount of muscle like before.
Yeah, for me the challenge would be the food. The amount of food I could not really sustain, because I feel like when I eat, then I get kind of tired and I want to go to sleep and stuff like that, and I like to eat less. And so I love the look. I mean, I think it's really great to have big muscles, and I used to do bodybuilding when I was a teenager, but then I was eating like every 2 to 3 hours, and I would be constantly tired from having a food belly. It's but yeah, I think I still think it's a very cool sport, but what I was missing also was endurance. So I would swim like half a lane and then be all like and I couldn't do it anymore because everything felt so sore and like at this very short distance, and I thought it was kind of stupid. And then I did martial arts, and especially Western boxing, and there you need a lot of endurance. And if your arms are too heavy, if you're too massive, then you run out of oxygen like too fast. So
yeah, you're like big and slow, and sluggish.
Yeah.
How about your training now?
My training now, I do mostly. So I train Muay Thai.
Nice.
I do yoga, and I do a little bit of fitness, but like with lighter weights. I was a bit too brave with bench pressing recently, and I immediately injured my elbow, which is so stupid.
Oh,
it was a weight that used to be very easy for me, and I thought, okay, my muscles are fine, I could lift that weight bench pressing, but I did not warm up enough, and so I immediately got an elbow injury, which is stupid. But I think just as you, like, I do a lot of movement. I like martial arts, and I think fitness training is supportive of that. And I think I do it for the sake of movement. Like, for example, I do Muay Thai because I use my legs a lot, because I want to use my legs a lot. It's more about like, an anti-aging thing. I want to stay young because I move my whole body and use my whole body and use my balance and everything, because I think it's important. I think that when you get older, you have there is more stuff to maintain, in my opinion, because I know that state of having like a young body, and I'm still kind of young. I'm in the beginning of my 40s, but I have to put more and more energy into maintaining that. And I notice that it goes away if I don't do anything in this regard. So I need to stay flexible. So I need to do yoga. I need to do endurance training. I need to train my balance and everything. So big part of my day is really maintaining myself. It's crazy.
So you do movement because you want to be able to maintain your ability to move.
Yeah, exactly. And
I like what you said about like Muay Thai, like how you pick these movement activities based on the type of movements that you want to maintain. Like you want to use your legs a lot, so you do Muay Thai.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Because particularly with that, I like boxing, Western boxing, a lot more. I like it more. I'm better with hands, I'm slow, kind of slow kicking and everything. But I think my legs need maintenance, and Western boxing doesn't. I mean, it kind of keeps you fit and moving, but you don't get to exercise your legs a lot, so your legs become slow and inflexible, and so I do it more like for a therapeutic cause.
Nice. I'm curious. Have you seen a difference in how you in your workday? When you get in your workouts, has it changed your workday when you get in workouts versus if you skipped?
Oh yes. After my workouts, I also do the ice bath thing, and if I don't get my ice bath, I'm kind of it makes me kind of grumpy, and yeah, because it's the best feeling I can get. Like the ice bath is the best. I don't like the cold showers, to be honest, so much, because it's kind of.
Hold on, you don't like cold showers, but you'll do an ice bath.
yeah, exactly. It sounds weird, but yeah, I feel I'm more productive when I work out and at that day, and I feel like I have more dopamine. How's that with you?
When I don't do my practice, I can tell right away. I can tell it's I feel a little more agitated on the inside, a little less patient. A little less patient. I can get more frustrated faster. It's like I have less amount of patience, less amount, to deal with. But then once I do my practice, it's like I expand that capacity. I have more patience. I can deal with more stuff. I can deal with more issues and more challenges. I find now it's it makes less of an impact. It still makes an impact, but it's less now. It's like before before the stage that I was in, I needed my body to constantly relax, so this way I can get into a certain state that's a little more chill, that I can handle work and things a lot more. But now what I found is I'm getting into a state to where I'm able to maintain that a lot more easier, and so therefore it's less dependent on the movement practice. So it's less changes. But it took many years to get to this, and now it still helps. It still helps and it still feels good, but it just feels like I can maintain it easier now. Like before, if I didn't do my practice, within 2 hours I can feel it. I'll be up. It'll be a daytime. I'll be doing something. I can feel I'm a little off. Versus now, I do my practice sometimes at night. There are days to where I just missed it altogether because of the little one, and I still feel fine. So yeah, so it's just like different. It's just different stages that we progress in, because essentially, how the idea of mind over matter, right? And so therefore, if we can master our mind, then we can have control over our body. Right, control over what we do. It is true. It is very true. But in order to get to that point, we have to first master our body. We have to first get the body to be able to chill out and have more control over the body. And then once we have more control over the body, because then our mind becomes the master. Until then, the body is the master. So for most people, even people that are listening to this, if we look, we can see, is a person being driven through their mind? Are they in control through their mind or in control through their body? One way to be able to tell is just look at what it is that a person wants to do and see what it is that they actually do. And what they find is that so often, the only time when they are able to do what it is they mentally want to do is when it's already a habit, because it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
But when they are doing something that they don't do very often, it's hard to do it. They don't feel like doing it because their body is not conditioned to doing that thing. So therefore, their body, the feeling in their body goes, no, I don't feel like doing this thing. Even though their mind goes, I want to do this new thing because of whatever reason, but they can't get themselves to do it. So then they force themselves. And then they force themselves once to go and do it, but it's so hard to force themselves again. And then again. And eventually they go, oh, I'm so tired, I can't continue doing this. I can't keep forcing myself. Because the reason why we force ourselves is because we are not in control of our body. The body is actually controlling us. So therefore, we are being driven through our feelings and through our emotions. But at some point, when we start to master our emotions, because we stayed in this neutral state long enough, then our mind actually becomes our master. We can now do what it is that we want to do. But it takes time.
So you're saying first you have to master your body, which means that you do all these exercises and get used to it on a regular basis, right? And then as a result of that, you have the ability to control your body better through your mind.
Basically. Right. And it's not just about doing these exercises. It's just for a person to be able to actually, when they can control their body, that basically means they're able to stay still when they want to stay still and move when they want to move. But if we just look at something so simple like that, right? We're not talking about something complicated. All I said was stay still when you need to be still and move when you want to move. Not what your body wants to do, but what you want to do. So then a person can just do a short little test. It's so easy. They sit down, they can sit on a chair, sit on a couch, they can stand, and they go, okay, so now I'm going to do this test. I'm going to not move. I'm going to not move now for 3 minutes. And just not move a single thing. And then now when they don't move, now they can see whether or not they can actually do it. And so as they're doing this, a lot of times what a person will experience is the body fighting against this simple command. Our mind goes, body, be still. Our body goes, screw you. I want to move. I want to move. I want to shake. I want to do this. And then the person will feel this. And then what a person will tell me when I ask them to do this, they'll be like, it's so hard. I go, right. Why would it be so hard? Right? What's actually happening in this simple thing is that a person is not fully connected to their body, which is why they cannot control it. They're not connected to their body because their body is uncomfortable. So they're not connected to it. The moment that they stop and they bring their awareness, they bring their attention to their body now, and to actually feel the body and see what's going on inside. See what's going on. Just feel your body. Suddenly they feel terrible. Oh, it feels so off. It feels so anxious. It feels agitated. It feels this. It feels that. Well, this is the body that you're in the whole time. And you never decide to just stop for a few minutes out of all these hours to just see how you're feeling. And then when a person does this, they realize, oh my God, I feel like crap. And so at this point, if they are feeling bad like this, then they cannot fully connect to this body, because to fully connect to the body is too much pain. There's too much in between that's blocking them from connecting to their body. So then their job is to remove all these things that's blocking them from fully connecting. Because when they fully connect, they go, body, chill out. Boom, the body is still. And they go, body, move. And the body moves. So now what is life if it's not doing things that we want to do and not doing things that we don't want to do? That is life. It doesn't matter if somebody is a housewife or an entrepreneur or a cook, doesn't matter. I want to do this and I want to stand here and keep doing this, and now I want to stop doing it. I want to drink this thing. I don't want to drink this thing anymore. right? It's just the matter of controlling their body. But when we look at problems, right? I have this drinking problem. A person cannot control. That's like something, it was so fascinating when I started to break it down to be, just really look at it in a very simplistic viewpoint and question something that seemed to be just so obvious. I started realizing, man, I don't have control over my body. What the heck? I've been training my body my entire life and I didn't have control over it. And I remember literally standing there and not being able to stand and be still. And I feel all this weird stuff going on in my body. And I was like, you know what? No, I'm going to take control over my body. I'm going to sit here or stand here and I'm going to be still when I want to be still. And I'm going to feel all this agitation, feel all this discomfort. And I'm going to get past all of that. I'm going to let go of whatever stuff is happening in here. And so I started spending time doing that. And I spent 1.5 years doing one simple exercise, standing with my arms down and not moving. So you should have seen me when this was happening. I would have a conversation, like you and I would be in a room talking, and I'll stand there talking, but my arms would just be draped down. I'm not moving, and just my mouth is moving and a little facial expression, and that's it. And I'll be standing in the grocery store, standing in line to pay for some groceries. And, I have my hands on the cart and I realize I have like maybe, 1 minute or 2 minutes. I put my hands down. I just stand there. I just close my eyes and I just stand there and not do anything. And sometimes I open my eyes and there'll be like a big gap in front of me. Okay. I look behind me and there's like a line and I'm like, oh, sorry. I did this for 1.5 years until finally I was able to do that, to be able to stand still and relax. Oh, and also let go of my stomach. My company was 6-pack shortcuts. So it was all about, trying to look like I have a 6-pack 24/7. So every time when you look at some dude or some chick who's walking around with the tight abs, they're flexing.
Yeah.
The whole time. Hey, I'm not talking SPAC, man. That was me for most of my life. But
this is very interesting because I'm nowadays I'm learning a lot about breathing and Wim Hof breathing and how you're supposed to breathe through your belly and generate that quote inner fire and get a lot of oxygen in. And one part of it is of course letting your belly loose. And I remember a guy I used to live in Bulgaria a few years ago, and there's like it also has a beach and the Black Sea. And I remember like a guy who was about 50 and he was working out, you could tell, but he had such a small waist, so he would like flex it like to the inside, and he would like the vacuum exercise that Arnold Schwarzenegger did. Yes. That's I think it's good, but that looked so unhealthy, and I kind of felt sorry for that guy. I was like, oh man, he never he never gets to breathe, and I noticed about myself. Of course, I also don't want like to look like that I have a big belly or anything like that, but I catch myself at least 20 times a day where I'm also like flexing and pushing it inside, which is so stupid because that way you a lot of things in your body. You're doing like the circulation you were talking about. You're destroying it like with the most important thing, which is your breath. I mean, you can go with like, okay, tense shoulders or something like that for a while, but if you don't breathe enough, then all kinds of weird things will happen in your body biochemically. The ratio of CO2 and O2 will be distorted, and that will have like inflammatory responses and all kinds of weird shit going on in your body. So it's so important to learn to breathe and to let your belly loose. And I know it's weird, but it's a big point in my opinion. It's big.
A lot of chest breathers. I was a chest breather before. You breathe through your chest, and then you can't breathe. The air doesn't go down to the stomach because the stomach's too tight.
Yeah, and it's important to breathe your nose as well and learn that.
Yep, and I was a mouth breather too. I remember I'm working out and I'm there. I run out of breath. That's how I end up stopping in my set. Is not because my muscles are fatigued. I would hold my breath. I'll be, I pump out like 3 reps, and then I'll do like 2 more reps. Oh man, my breathing was terrible. But on the outside, my body looked great and I was lean, but I didn't feel good and I didn't know how to breathe. And I remember part of this standing still was learning how to let go of my stomach. And I couldn't do it. I remember I would try to let it go and my stomach would come out a little bit and then it would tuck right back in. And it would just come out for it was like just back and forth. I could not do it. That was the main thing I was focusing on. Being able to be still, my body was the secondary one, but it was actually the stomach. I wanted my stomach to be able to hang loose. And imagine, right? I spent my whole life trying to actually keep my stomach tight. And now I'm trying to keep it loose and I could not do it. It took me 1.5 years to do it.
Wow. And do you manage now to have it loose, like in your everyday life?
Yeah. Now I can do it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I do it all the time. Yeah.
One part of the secret is like, don't wear tight clothes.
It's a good point.
Makes it easier, right? So.
Yeah, particularly tight pants.
Ah, yeah.
Because it's wrapping around your stomach. Then you can't. Yeah. How can you let it go if it's so tight around your stomach?
Yeah, a very, very good point.
Yeah.
So, if you could, you have this, you built this big company in the past and you left it. From today's perspective, what would you do differently if you had to start over? If you could turn back time with your knowledge that you have right now?
I would still go and help people get a 6-pack and go and get them in great shape because it's part of the path to becoming more healthier. But the way that I would do it would be different. The way that I would do it would be different. I would do it in a way to where they can not only get the body that they want, but they can also be able to get their mind to be still, become present. Get their body to actually feel good and look good. That's what I would do different now. And I talked to a lot of people that follow my videos in the past. And there are many that have kind of come to this same conclusion, that me and you and other people have come to. It's like, we want to be healthy. We want to stay moving, stay active, not so much just so we can look good. That's more of a byproduct. It's so we can feel good and have the longevity, have the ability to move and the ability to use our body for the rest of our life. And I think it has to come. I think it comes with age. You're in your 40s. I'm going to be 40 in a few months. So. So let the young guys in their 20s, build the big biceps and chests. It's just part of the age. I think once they get a little older, eventually they will come to the same conclusion to where they care about other things a little bit more.
Yeah, I found that in order to feel normal when you get older, you have to also, just like with your looks, you have to do a lot of stuff to be able to maintain that normal. So like, let's say you eat bad food and you're a teenager, and it's not a big problem. I remember when I was a teenager and a kid, I remember like I was wondering about all these, adults that were complaining about, oh, this food is too heavy. And then I'm like, I don't feel energetic anymore and it's too heavy. And I couldn't understand that concept because, when I was a child, I could eat anything, be it like a piece of meat, a schnitzel, a steak, French fries, whatnot. I always felt fantastic. And nowadays, like if I eat the wrong thing, then I'm like destroyed for 2 hours or so. It's crazy.
I think when people get older, they have this idea that they need to start to act different. They need to start acting older. I'm older now. I'm in my 40s. I'm in my 50s. I need to be a certain way. I can't be like how I was. Says who? you know?
Yeah.
And so I imagine, what would happen if somebody, regardless of their age, let's say they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, but they still act like they're in their 20s, like certain parts of it. Right? Maybe they don't go, maybe they're not, constantly chasing the opposite sex, but maybe they go out and play. Maybe they go for runs, maybe they go and goof around and do cartwheels around the house, and they lift things up for fun, and they just play. They play.
I have a friend like that.
You do, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's how I like to live.
Yeah, I also think that age is also determined by your mindset. So I know that I make an effort to think like a very young person and to act like a very young person. I'm just a little bit more careful with my energy, and I invest more time into maintaining myself. That's a big difference. But I think that if you think like an older guy, then you all of a sudden become older, and it will also manifest in your physical appearance, in the way you move, in all kinds of things. And so I do more physical activity than when I was younger. Yeah, so I totally agree. It's I think I also think it's important to surround yourself with young people and to talk to young people.
Or to people your age but thinks like you, so they're all act like young people.
Yeah, absolutely. Like one of the things that worries me is I am in Switzerland in a small village, and in all those villages, which is very healthy, like a lot of nature around, but the people are just old. And I'm talking really old. Like everyone around me is like super old, and I'm like, shit. I also, need to mingle with the younger crowd a little bit more.
Yeah.
But man, people in Switzerland are old. I can tell.
Yeah, it's well, you guys got all the mountains, and if you're in a village, right, it's clean mountain water, fresh air, and would you say people are very active?
Yeah,
even the older people.
Swiss people are very active. They're very sporty. Like if you go on like a hiking trail, then a lot of them, like half of them, are in sportswear, and they're running. They're not just walking. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
So I think the lifestyle is pretty good, but what I like about some other countries, or when I go to Miami, there's so many young people in one place. That's really a nice energy to be in. How's that in Bali? You're in Bali, right?
Yeah. Man, the place that I'm at, I'm in a place called Canggu, and it's like the most popular area in Bali right now, and lots of tourists, tons and tons of young people. I mean, I don't wear shirts most of the time, nor shoes. I go drive around, like I go to stores. I was stopped for not having a shirt for the first time just yesterday. Like I don't remember the last time being stopped for no shirt in the store.
Really?
Yeah. And I drive with barefoot a lot of times on the scooter, and it's just the lifestyle is very different. Very open. People are super chill, so you can go in any restaurant. You don't need to have any certain wear. People are, just everybody's either surfing, doing yoga, or just active. people are all fit and working out all the time. Beach is packed. Tons of people there.
Why did you choose Bali? You could have gone to Thailand or other places. Why is it Bali for you?
It was always meant to be here during that time. But the way it happened, I do believe that. But the way that happened was I was supposed to move to Philippines. There was a lot of us, maybe about 12, 15 of us, multiple families, and we're all going to move to the Philippines into this remote village. And we were going to like start this operation there of, eco living and farming and all this stuff. And that plan fell through, last minute. So my bags are packed. I'm in Austin at the time. And I had nowhere to go, but I was ready to leave. I didn't have a house anymore. I sold that. I got rid of everything. I'm ready to go. And I had no idea where I was going to go. And I get a text from my friend who asked me if I wanted to come to Bali. And up until then, I didn't even think about Bali. Just like you said, there's so many places in the world. And I was just, it's too many to choose from. So I just did a real quick Google search on Bali. And I saw a lot of good reviews. And from what I was dealing with at the time, which was this remote village in Philippines, it was called the island of Leyte. And I was working on getting internet there. The internet is so bad. There was maybe a 3 foot, cubic foot area that you can stand in this house that you have to have the cell phone slightly out, almost like the phone's going to drop out the window, and then you can get signal. Or you got to be on the roof in a little area, or you got to go walk way down the street onto this hill. You got to get on the top of the hill, and then you can have a little bit of internet. And so you always see people, on this hill, and that's pretty much about it. And so I was figuring out how to run internet lines from the nearest main city called Ormoc, which was really close, which is about 3.5 hours ferry ride from Cebu. So I was going to run internet from there to this village. So I'm dealing with this infrastructure stuff. And then I look up Bali, and it's like, first thing I looked is internet speed. And they said it was fast and no problems. Okay. Expats love it. I was like, whew, well, that's a good sign. That was all I needed. And then I looked, and, everything else looked pretty cool. So I just came. And everything kind of just unfolded in this perfect way. I met my wife a month later, and that was, almost 4 years ago.
Nice. That's a beautiful story. But what made you want to leave Austin / the US in the first place?
I always wanted to travel. I had too many worries before. Too many worries. There's always something that I needed to wait more on. Something more that needed to be done. Something else to secure something in order for me to go. I always wanted to go. And now I look at it, I can just say, I was afraid, so I never left. And then when I was going through this transition and all these things we were talking about, and I realized these beliefs and all this stuff, and I realized, you know what, forget all this bullshit reasons. I'm just scared. Can I go? I can go right now. So it took everything in me to start that process, selling the house. I mean, I loved my house. It was like the perfect home for me. It's beautiful. It was the perfect size. And I realized if I leave, I need to get rid of this house. I'm not going to have this house to be my attachment. So this way I can't go explore the world. So yeah, it took everything in me to go and let go. Have you ever seen this movie, The Secret Life of Walter Mitty?
No.
Oh, man, it's a good one. It's a perfect movie for anybody who's got like this inner will to want to live, but is kind of caught up in this rat race cycle. It's the perfect movie, man. I watched that movie over and over. And that movie gave me like the motivation, to just say, screw it, I'm going to do it. And
wow.
And it really helped. It was a number of things, but that was like the fire. That was like the spark that just pushed it over, Yeah.
Awesome. So as like as like a last question, what would you advise to somebody who wants to start their own business? What's your best tip for someone who plans on doing that but hasn't gotten to yet?
I would just say, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid. All the reasons that a person has on why they need to wait, on why right now may not be the best timing, on why they just need to do X, Y, and Z before they actually take any real action towards it. I know how that is, but because that's like that in every single thing that we're afraid of, that we, it's scary. But no matter where somebody is at right now, do their best to move forward in some aspect of that business. Some aspect. Sometimes the person doesn't particularly have that product or service yet, so they can't totally monetize it. But that doesn't mean you don't do that thing that you like to do, that you want to do. Do it for free for other people now until you have it down. Maybe by doing it for free for your friends, for your family, offering it to just random people, by doing it for free and helping them out, it will spark the courage that you need. It will get the momentum going. It'll give certain ideas. It starts to build experience on the business, on the operation that you want to build anyways. And so a lot of people don't do that because they think, oh, well, it's a waste of time. No, it's not a waste of time. You're gaining experience. You're gaining knowledge. You're getting past the things that feel, could feel a little scary on the inside. So just whatever it takes to move forward in that direction.
Thank you very much.
That's what I would suggest.
That was a really nice conversation. How can someone reach you if they want to follow you or get more advice from you or get in touch with you the best?
They can look me up on Instagram. It's Mike Chang Official, or just type in Mike Chang on YouTube.
All right. Lovely. Thank you so much, Mike. I really enjoyed that conversation a lot.
Well, thank you, Sven. I enjoyed it myself too. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this episode, hit the subscribe button and never miss an episode of Svencast again.